Hello everyone and welcome back to WolfQuest, The Lost Tales. And we are here with Athena and Troy, who are currently on the little butte, and we're actually going to have them look for a den here. And we are playing on pretty easy right now. So I think what we'll probably end up doing is, honestly, I feel like these guys would end up going to the Canyon Cliffs den over here. Or not Canyon Cliffs, the Saddle Meadows. I think that's, yeah, the Saddle Meadows one is over here. I still call it Canyon Cliffs sometimes because it's so close to Canyon Cliffs. But it is officially in Saddle Meadows. And so I feel like they would head over that way. And it's a pretty short journey. I don't think they would venture super far from the rendezvous site, honestly. I think they would try and be as close as they can get to having the rendezvous site be right there. And so I think this would be a pretty good place for them. This isn't... Oh yeah, that is the crossing. Okay. I was like, wait a minute, is that actually a crossing? But yeah, that is the crossing. There's a crossing there, and then there's one that's a little bit more over that way. And so there are a couple crossings, but the further one tends to be the easier one because that's where the mates tend to cross. So generally we go that way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get them up here. We'll claim this den, and then we'll go ahead and try and do the winter hunting, and I will do that. I'll do that off normal recording, and we'll montage it, and so you can get the highlights of what happened. And I'm just going to be careful to not have them end up sharing carcasses during that time, so we don't have to roll to find out if Troy gets mange. And that's something I do want to explain when we get back. I'll be talking a little bit more about mange and what it is, because some of you guys don't actually know what mange is, and I realized I didn't explain it very well. So I'll explain some more about that when we get back, but first, we're going to go ahead and do our winter hunting. And we're back. And several things have happened here. So we did actually have one incident where these two ended up eating from the same carcass by mistake. I did my best not to let it happen, but it did happen once. Thankfully, Troy is okay. He did not catch mange, so nothing to worry about there. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about what mange is, and I'll do that as we're marking the territory here, because mange is basically an infectious skin disease caused by mites, and it causes irritation and hair loss and can come in different severities, essentially. So Athena doesn't have it very bad. It's not weakening her too much. It's just a little bit uncomfortable. But mange can range from mild to extremely severe, and in some cases, it can even lead to death, especially if it ends up becoming compounded with other complications such as an infection. And especially, oh, that is a coyote. You're not supposed to be here. This is my den. Get out. And it can be especially dangerous for, like I said, animals that tend to have other complications. So for puppies, because they're so young and their immune systems haven't had a chance to build up very much yet, it can be especially dangerous for them. And that's why we need to be really careful. So if Troy were to catch it, he probably wouldn't actually die, because he's also a strong, healthy wolf right now. He's not otherwise sick. He's not doing too poorly. And he wouldn't be likely to get super sick from it, at least not right away. It can progress even on its own, but that generally does take some time. And while it can become severe even just by itself, a lot of the time there are other complications involved, so we don't have to worry about Troy actually dying from it. But because the pups are going to be so young and not have had much time to build up a resistance to disease or whatnot, we have to be very careful not to give it to them, because they could get very sick and even die from it very, very quickly. Now, the other thing is, I've actually revised the challenge a little bit. I mentioned it in brief last time, and what I'll probably end up doing is just put up some explanatory cards about it in the break here, or in a little bit of a break as I go to name the puppies, and that will explain the details of how the transmission will work from now on. It's a little bit more complicated, and it's there's going to be different stages to the disease. So I'll go ahead and put up some cards right here, and you guys can take a look at those. Those will explain it a little bit better, and then I will put indicators up for each pup so that you can see, and probably for Troy as well, so that you can see if any of them are infected and how severe that infection may be. I'm going to go ahead and name the pups, and you guys can take a look at those cards in the meantime. And here we are. So the pups are Marcus, Titan, Cressida, and Ellis. As of right now, they are uninfected, but that could change anytime we have contact with them pretty much. So I'm immediately going to back off, and I shouldn't howl while moving. I'm actually going to run down here and get some puppy food, but in order to train these guys, because if we pick them up, then we have a chance of transmitting the disease, and I don't think we probably want to be standing there, and I don't think we'd want to be, what am I saying? I don't think we'd want to be right there having direct contact with them and like playing with them either, because I think that can be pretty bad as well. So for the time being, oh, there is a coyote. We're gonna have to chase that guy off. And so for the time being, we're going to avoid them as much as possible, because we'll let Troy do a lot of the actual caring for them. Hopefully that won't be too much of a problem, because we are playing on pretty easy, but we're not going to be able to avoid them entirely. Alright, let's howl again. We got to get the pack affinity up here. Alright, and I think, oh man, it's already dropping really fast too. Alright, there we go. We should try and make sure we're marking the territory with it too, and get a little closer if we can. But yeah, so basically, for every time we feed a pup or pick up a pup, assuming the pup is not infected, then we have a 1/6 chance of infecting the pup, and that would not be a good thing. So we have to avoid having contact with them if we at all can. And for right now, it's not going to be too dangerous because none of the pups are infected, but the moment one of them gets infected, that's when we start having to worry, because that pup can then spread the illness to its siblings on its own, even if we're not having contact with them. And as you guys will have seen, yes, I know, as you guys will have seen in the cards that I put up to explain it a little bit, what is going on? Did that actually... Okay, it was just a little strange because the pop-up interrupted us. But yeah, so basically, as you guys will have seen in the cards, there's different stages to infection, and not all of them are going to involve death. It's only the most severe one that gives the pup a chance of dying, instead of the infection just progressing. Now, the infection can progress on its own every time we start an episode, and every time we transition between... okay, there we go. Every time we transition between... different stages, and so like that transition there, if any of the pups were infected, we would have had to roll for them, but for now we are not going to have to, because so far so good, we're still doing okay. But we do need to eat. Thankfully Troy's not coming to eat, or we'd have to roll for him too, and that would complicate everything because then he'd have a chance of infecting the pups. But we just have to be pretty careful. Now, I am going to run up there and try and chase off a predator, but we are going to avoid contact with the pups if we can all help it, because, again, I don't want to have to deal with it possibly passing the disease. Now, we may end up having to go feed them at some point, though, because I'm not sure if Troy is fully going to handle it. So we're going to have to keep an eye on them and make sure they're not getting too hungry. And the part that's really going to be concerning is the Grow Your Pups mission, because we'll either have to wait around for an extended period of time or risk feeding the pups ourselves and hope the infection doesn't progress too far by the time that we get to the rendezvous site. So even if the pups are infected, if they can make it to the rendezvous site, then our mission is complete. We just have to not let any of them die here, but because it's all controlled by randomness, there's not really a good way of doing that. So there's not really a good way of controlling that once they are infected. We just have to be really, really, really cautious this entire time. Otherwise, we're going to get ourselves into some trouble. I'm going to go mark the territory, and I'll actually howl again to keep pack affinity up, because, again, we can't pick them up, or we'll have to roll to see if any of them caught the disease. Now, the other thing is, actually, while I was making this video, WolfQuest put up another announcement about WolfQuest 3, and so definitely go check that out. It was really, really interesting, and definitely, they're completely reworking a lot of the systems, and it's really cool to see how much more detail is going into this. It's going to be a lot more complicated, that's for sure, and it's also going to be a lot more realistic, and it's no longer going to be as straightforward. This time they were talking about how they've reworked the energy system, and it's pretty cool to see. So I'm very curious to see where all of this is going to end up. It sounds like they're absolutely taking this game to the next level, and it's honestly incredible. So the pups are not super hungry yet. I'm hoping Troy will go feed them as they get more hungry, but we better head back and see if there are any predators wandering around. There is a predator. There is a bear right up at the top of the hill. At least we don't have to worry about a challenge like we had with Gemini with the bears, because that was a little bit intense. And so at least we don't have to worry about rolling to see if we can chase it off, because that can be pretty dangerous and could cause some real problems. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to howl to raise the pack affinity again and mark some territory. And I think we'll go ahead and get food. I'm watching to see if Troy is going to feed them, because of course that is the ideal, because then we don't have to worry about having contact with them. But he may not, and if he doesn't, then we're going to just have to take that chance, because we don't want all the pups dying of starvation, that's for sure. Yeah, so let's see. I'm going to kind of just hang out a little bit nearby, but at enough of a distance so that we don't spread it to them, hopefully. And, oh boy, let's see. Is there... Okay. I'm not seeing any predators right there. There's a predator now. Right as I said I'm not seeing anything, there's a predator. Alright, I'm gonna walk. Yeah, because he's gonna run. Okay. Well, that's fun. I've just got to stay kind of close. And hopefully... Like, the sooner we can get through these transitions, the better. And the easier it'll be. And the easier it'll be to go there. I changed the system up, not because I wanted to make it easier. It's more complicated, if anything. I just felt like it was too straightforward, and it'll be more interesting if we actually get to see progression of the disease as we're playing here. It'll be a little bit less straightforward. Oh, there he is. Okay, I see him again. Alright, we're just gonna cautiously approach. I don't want him sprinting off again, which he might. Yep, he is. Okay, we just gotta keep an eye on him then. He is gonna complicate things, because these guys like to take so long for you to chase him off, that then it takes a long time to transition to the next stage. And so that could be a problem. That could be a problem. And I think because of the journey being so long for a continuous stage, when we get to the journey mission, we'll make sure that we're we'll do multiple rolls. Oh, here he comes. All right, he's actually coming this time, I think. All right, he's going. Oh yeah, he's coming this way. I am stuck. I am stuck. All right, ouch. Oh boy, that's not good. I mean, one benefit of being farther away from the pups is that it's harder to have him actually straight up do this to us. Still not impossible, evidently. Alright, he's turned to face us. We have to get 3 bites in. Alright, we got 1 more in. I'm gonna back off and let him run at the pups because that's gonna be the best chance we have. Okay, we did it. These guys scare me half to death. I really... Okay, we've completed a mission. So now we're on the Grow Your Pups mission. This is gonna be the tough one. We are playing on pretty easy because... we already have such a dangerous challenge here, but this is going to be the one that's a little bit interesting here, and I don't know how well we'll be able to do this. We'll have to see. Oh, we got to raise pack affinity again. Troy, please don't eat from that carcass. You're going to make me have to roll for you if you do. And he's not even really keeping them very well fed, so this could become a problem. Alright, let's come back over here. Alright, I think what we'll do here is continue to make sure we're marking the territory here. There's a coyote. We definitely... Okay, we're just gonna have to go feed the pups, and that means we're gonna have to roll for all of them. And see if, we'll chase this coyote first, but we'll see if any of them end up becoming infected. Because none of them are infected, right now it is still a 1 in 6 chance for each of them. So there's more than a 50% chance that one of them will become infected, but it's not likely that all of them will become infected. And so that could be pretty troublesome depending on how this ends up working out. We're gonna go ahead though, and there is a pretty good chance that it will end up spreading even further because we're gonna have to do this several times, and that's the part that's a little bit scary. Okay, I don't see any other predators lurking around. Oh, I do see another predator. Okay, he's gonna play with the pups. All right, we're gonna run up here. We're gonna kill this coyote. And then we'll run back and feed the pups and see what ends up happening here. So let's go over here. Oh my, that was a little bit startling, but we'll see. All right, we're gonna feed everyone. Here we go, and I'm going to roll the dice after I'm done here. I'm gonna feed them all at once, and just feed them as much as possible right away, if it'll actually let me do that. There we go. And Marcus doesn't need quite as much. Wait, Titan, don't walk off. Alright, and Ellis, and then Cressida. I feel like Cressida got quite a lot of it compared to the others, but alright, I'm gonna run off a little ways and then we'll see. So, alright, let me see there. Actually, none of them did. So we got really lucky that time. Nobody actually ended up catching the disease that time. Basically what I do is I roll a set of dice on my phone, and if any of them rolls a 1, because it's a 1 in 6 chance, then I count them as infected, but the lowest roll we got was 3, so we majorly lucked out that time. Trouble is, we're gonna have to go right back up there and do it again. So, they're not out of the woods yet, and we still have quite a few, we still have probably at least 2 episodes left, and so that's at least 2 more transitions, plus whatever ones we run into along the way. There's still quite a lot of chance for things to go wrong, honestly, and the chance of infection will grow with the severity. So if we have a pup that starts getting more severely infected, then that's going to raise the chance of infection for the others, and it could just become a big mess. So, oh my, there's like straight up a tree on fire right next to me. That's not good. Let's go back this way. And I'm really, really nervous. I'm actually really nervous right now because we have to go back and feed them again. And we may have lucked out that first time, but the odds are that we will not be that lucky a second time. And there's probably going to be a predator after them as well. I should not have approached from this angle because I didn't have very good visibility, but thankfully we still saw this coyote over here, and still managed to get to him in time. Alright, one more bite, and we're good, and I'm gonna go back up and feed them, and we'll do this again. So, let's see. I'm really scared because I was so lucky last time that I can't help but feel that I'm going to be very unlucky this time, and that's not what we want to see. That's exactly what the opposite of what we want to see. Oh, he's gonna feed Titan. We'll let him do that. We still have to roll for Titan though because we fed him a little bit. All right, Cressida, you're gonna get a bit. I'm not gonna give you as much as last time, and I'll give Titan some more. But yeah, so let's go back down here, and then I'll roll again, and still nothing. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, we have been insanely lucky. We got a 2 this time, but no 1s. So I don't know whether I should be afraid of that or incredibly, incredibly thankful, because so far so good. None of the pups are infected. And yeah, that was definitely very worrisome. But we are going to have to do it again, and I think we'll have to do it again one last time this episode. If we make it through this, then that's going to be a huge benefit to us, because how are they doing even? Titan's up to 13, Ellis is up to 12, and the others are at 11. So that'll be a huge benefit if we can get through this one without any of them becoming infected, because then that's one less time we have to roll to see if it's going to spread. But still, okay. What's attacking the den? Is there literally nothing attacking the den? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think something's gonna charge out of nowhere at me. Cressida, don't walk off, please. Alright. Here we go. Titan and Cressida are wandering away. They're actually the ones that have more food, so I'm not... That's a bear. That's actually straight up a bear. Okay, I'm gonna get up behind him here and bite him. Oh. And he's no longer locked onto me. So that's bad, because now we've fed the pups, and so we'll have to... I'm going to chase off this bear. I'm not going to try and roll my dice while I'm chasing off a bear. That's just a disaster waiting to happen. Alright, and one more bite should do it. There we go. But let's roll now, because now we have to... Now, because we left, we'd have to do an additional roll. Uh-oh, okay, so, alright, that would be the 3rd dice. So if we go pack stats, Ellis has actually gotten infected now, which is not good. So it's at stage 1 right now, which means there's a relatively low chance of it worsening and a low chance of it spreading, but that chance does exist with every transition now. And so we gotta be really careful. So we don't have to roll for Ellis each time now as we're feeding them, and I'm gonna get as much food as possible when I go to feed them. But that means that we are now battling the clock, because the longer we take, the more chance that something will go very, very wrong, and the more chance that we could lose a pup to mange along the way. So we've got to be really careful here, and I'm going to have to feed them again one last time, but I think that's about all we're going to get in for this episode. And, alright, so we're going to feed them all. I'm going to feed... Okay, we've got a coyote! No! No! We keep getting interrupted! This is bad! This is really bad! Alright. Oh, we keep double biting somehow, and I don't know exactly how that happened. So we got moved away from the pups again, which means that we still have to roll, even though we didn't empty our food bar. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that again. And thankfully, nothing this time. So I'm actually going to go ahead and wrap up the episode here for today, because it is about that time again. So already things are getting a little bit concerning, but thankfully our luck hasn't been as bad as it could have been. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.